Higher education officials are again voicing strong opposition to allowing more concealed weapons on college and university campuses. A state House committee recently held hearings on the issue. Attempts to pass various versions of a bill to allow guns on campus have all been rejected, but there are a number of campuses across the country that now allow concealed carry in some form.
Under current state law, a person can have a gun inside their parked and locked car on campus, and university presidents have the authority to grant an exemption to the ban. But Glenn Johnson, chancellor of the Regents for Higher Education, says there is no support in higher ed for expanding the law.
Resolutions literally from every college campus, from our student government organizations, from our student bodies as a whole, from our faculty and faculty senate organizations, from our staff organizations, as well as our Council of College and University Presidents, who have unanimously passed throughout our system a very unified message that opposes the carrying of weapons on our college campuses.
Casey Werenberg is State Director of Students for Guns on Campus, which has 3 chapters in Oklahoma. He argues that making college campuses gun-free zones just makes them a dangerous place.
When you look at a college campus, it's pretty much a safe haven for crime. That invisible line that separates on campus from off campus, everyone's under the impression it's going to make a difference. But after what we saw with Virginia Tech, it really doesn't.
Werenberg argues that colleges and universities are filled with innocent targets for bad guys with guns.
When you look at a college campus, you're looking at a group of students that are basically sitting ducks. They have no means to protect themselves, and not only that, you also have to look at the reality that for every regulation, for every form of gun control that's out there, nothing's worked.
And during an Oklahoma House interim study on the issue, State Representative John Enns told lawmakers he often receives phone calls from faculty members who want more guns on campus.
So many of them are like, we don't want to testify. So I do have somebody here that's willing to testify, and I'll call him Mr. X.
Mr. X was allowed to testify by telephone.
We just have to look at other universities where they've had mass shootings. We just, for example, at Virginia Tech, they have the same law enforcement people there. They had procedures in place, and none of those things were able to stop that mass casualty event.
Several university presidents showed up at the hearing to voice their opinions in public, including University of Oklahoma President David Boren, who has long opposed allowing more guns on campus.
Placing guns on campus, in my opinion, except in the hands of highly trained law enforcement officials and professionals, would be a serious mistake. It would lead only to tragic results.
And Representative Corey Williams, a Democrat from Stillwater, told the panel there is already evidence to show that allowing more guns on campus also increases the likelihood of accidents.
In the first week of September alone, there were 2 gun-related incidents where the licensed concealed carry permit holder shot themselves in the presence of students, one at an elementary in Utah and one at Idaho State University in a chem lab.
Rex Berry is a 26-year veteran of the Tulsa Police Department. He's trained police in Kosovo, Iraq, and Palestinian security forces. In those 26 years on the police force, Berry fired 2 rounds in the line of duty.
Not every dangerous situation requires gunfire, which is one of my biggest concerns about the concept of carrying guns either in the public schools or at the college campuses. I believe nationwide over the last year in police shootings, they only had 50% of their rounds find their mark.
Dr. Howard Kurtz is a criminologist sociologist. He's currently an associate professor at Southwestern Oklahoma State University in Weatherford. He's also a consultant to the U.S. State Department, Homeland Security, and the U.S. Department of Education.
It's an emotional argument that carries us in a lot of different directions, I think. If you look at it by the numbers, it makes no sense. When we talk about this just in terms of trying to save lives, there are a whole lot of other things that we could be focusing on because there really aren't that many people killed on campuses. It's one of the safest places that you could possibly be.
Professor Kurtz is licensed to carry a concealed weapon, but does not do so on campus. He's surveyed his students about whether it's a good idea to change his view on that.
Would you feel safer if you thought I had a weapon? And inevitably somebody says, well, yeah, unless you're crazy. I've had students tell me, only if, Dr. Kurtz, if you go through a complete psychological workup to make sure you're not going to be the problem. So, overall, again, the surveys say they don't want guns.
At least 3 state legislators have indicated they will again propose next session some form of expanded concealed carry on college and university campuses, believing it will make students safer.